Overwatch, one of the most popular first-person shooters of all time, selling a total of 50 million copies across multiple platforms in the last few years. Those from the very beginning of the game will remember how popular it once used to be, with some of the biggest streamers on Twitch, like XQC, building their careers off it.
I want to go run outside in the rain.
Baba Bowie.
As people gained influence and power throughout Overwatch's popularity, there were of course people willing to abuse that influence for their own gratification. Get ready, get comfy, grab a snack or a drink, because this is going to be a doozy. Welcome to the Overwatch Degenerates. Starting off with one of the most clear-cut cases in the Overwatch community, we have former pro Overwatch player Jonathan Dreamkazper Sanchez. In the inaugural season of the Overwatch League, with only 12 teams, a team that people didn't expect to do well was the Boston Uprising. With a roster of mostly unknown or B-to-C-list players, and when compared to the legacy of a team like the Dallas Fuel or the Seoul Dynasty at the time, expectations were very low for the Boston Uprising. However, one man by the name of Dreamkazper managed to turn a significant amount of heads with his standout performances, managing to 4-0 the Houston Outlaws and out-snipe Linkser on Widowmaker.
Where do you guys currently rank this man amongst the league's best DPS players?
I mean, he shut down Linkser on the Widowmaker, right? And I consider Linkser one of the best Widowmakers in the league. So
Statistically, the best counter-sniper in the league.
Top 3 Widowmaker in the league. He's Pharah, arguably the best over Flera. Could be a top 3 DPS player we have on our hands here.
Dreamkazper's notoriety and status was rapidly on the rise. His proficiency and most importantly, flexibility as a player, especially at a time when 222 Warlock wasn't introduced, was highly valued, and the general fanbase, casters and analysts started taking note of Dreamkazper's skill. However, all this praise would come crashing down just 4 months into the Overwatch League, as on the 8th of April 2018, a 14-year-old girl by the name of Lily came forward with a Google document detailing the inappropriate exchanges between her and Dreamkazper. The interaction first began when Dreamkazper followed Lily back on Twitter after Lily posted a tweet supporting Casper. They started talking and soon developed a friendship after Dreamkazper offered Lily to buy her a copy of Overwatch on PC so they could play together. However, things soon escalated when Dreamkazper became more sexual in his messages, despite already knowing the girl's age. After these allegations came out, the Boston Uprising released a public statement in that they were investigating the situation and had suspended Dreamkazper indefinitely. Just a day later, on the 9th of April, news outlet Heavy released an exclusive article about a second victim who was 16 years old, where Dreamkazper offered to fly her out from Atlanta to LA and also lied about his age to her, claiming he was 18 or just 2 years older. Heavy clarified and implied that whilst, according to federal law, what Dreamkazper had done was illegal, he had not been charged with the crime and were unaware if the police were investigating him. Of course, as soon as these allegations came out, and because they were backed with substantial evidence, the Boston Uprising swiftly dropped to Dreamkazper. Due to the popularity of Overwatch at the time, and that this was the league's first big scandal, multiple articles from gaming outlets, such as Kotaku, were written, detailing the interaction between the two underage girls and Dreamkazper. Following the entire scandal, the next few years would see Dreamkazper occasionally resurface. For instance, in December 2018, 8 months after the whole controversy, Overwatch player Carter revealed some alternate aliases and accounts linked to Dreamkazper named CP Duid, A's and Ayers. After doing some more digging, it was later revealed that on ESEA, a popular CSGO pug site, another account by the name of CP Duid was also discovered. Fast forward 9 months to September 2019, and the Overwatch League Pro Nero would reveal in a now deleted tweet that Dreamkazper was back again playing Overwatch, but with his name backwards. The deletion of this tweet might be explained by Dreamkazper's soon-to-come apology, released in early October of 2019. He essentially apologises for what happened in the past and how he will work to become a better person in the future. Whilst some gave Dreamkazper the benefit of the doubt, many chose not to. The story, for now, ends on the 18th of November 2020, where Dreamkazper made yet another twitlonger detailing how he now started attending therapy and how, despite the difficulty, he wants to work towards re-earning the respect of the community. He had also renamed to Klaxia, who from what I can see, only has a Twitter account. From that twitlonger near the back end of 2020, Dreamkazper has been MIA. Maybe he'll come back with the release of Overwatch 2 later this year, or perhaps now he thinks that his reputation is unsalvageable. Yet, Dreamkazper's actions has forged a legacy to where when anyone mentions his name, they don't think about how good his play was in the game, but rather they think about his behaviour outside of it. Who knows when, or if, Dreamkazper or Klaxia will ever return. One of the most renowned faces in the Overwatch League, Effect was certainly a talented player with much promise, though his history outside of the Overwatch League has been poorly documented, which is why you might be confused as to why he's even here in the first place. Before the Overwatch League, Effect came into the Dallas Fuel with a stellar portfolio, with numerous finishes at number 1, with the most significant win being a clean 4-0 sweep against FaZe Clan whilst Effect was on Team Envious. Considering that the 2017 Envious roster had basically turned into Dallas Fuel, expectations were high for the roster, and unfortunately, they fell short. Just roughly 20 days after the Overwatch League had begun, and after a tough match loss, Effect had opened up emotionally about how the pressure of the league impacted his mental and his performance. Effect was generally known at the time by both his teammates and by the public as being one of the most hardworking players on the Dallas Fuel.
Effect is a grinder. I've never seen someone with such a dedicated schedule like Effect.
Like Effect can play Osu for 2 hours, and then he practices aim hero for an hour, and then he plays quick play for an hour before he actually even jumps into a game.
He really try hard every time he played the game.
He just wants to win really, really badly. He's like a God's gift to game.
So when it came to taking losses, the effect of it, no pun intended, would have been the greatest on him. Whilst I don't want to spend too much time on Effect's relationship with the Dallas Fuel, things were rocky to say the least. Just a few months into the first season of the Overwatch League, Effect threatened to leave the Dallas Fuel after Rascal and head coach Kiki were kicked. He later refused to play in Stage 4 after Stage 3 had ended, and whilst a revival video was posted by the Dallas Fuel coming into the second season of the Overwatch League, Effect soon retired from competitive Overwatch in a now privated Facebook post. He detailed his suicidal thoughts at the time, and for more details, I recommend checking out ATP's video covering the story at the time. With a brief overview of Effect's professional career out the way, what was it that Effect had done that garnered some negative attention past his retirement? Well, the answer to that will be revealed on the 1st of August 2019, where Effect's ex-girlfriend, Seneca, came out with a statement detailing her abusive relationship with Effect. An English translation was provided a day later by Swingchip in a 67-tweet thread. This is where the timeline of events can get a bit confusing, so I'll provide a quick timeline of the 3 main events here. Firstly, in July of 2019, Effect had come out on Facebook to detail his relationship with Seneca. An English translation was posted on Reddit, so you can take this with a grain of salt. Roughly 2 weeks later, on August the 1st, Seneca had posted a response, which was translated by Swingchip just a day later. On the same day, on August the 1st, Effect had posted a response to Seneca titled Disaster. Just because it will make more sense, and because it's important, I'll begin with the Swingchip translation here first. Thankfully, Twitter user Gatamchun, who I'll now just refer to as Gata, made a summary of Seneca's post. Firstly, Effect had claimed that Seneca worked in the sex industry as a prostitute, and Seneca swiftly denied this. Secondly, there was allegedly verbal abuse and an abusive power dynamic, supported by translated screenshots of Effect threatening physical abuse against Seneca, most notably stating, "I want to beat you, I want to kill you right now, I really would just clench my jaw up and beat you until you were a bloody pulp." Some may be skeptical about the validity of these screenshots, let alone the English translation to them, but Effect, in his disaster Twitlonger that I mentioned earlier, did admit that the messages between him and Seneca were indeed real. He obviously apologised for what he said, claiming that, "Those are my wrongs and I should not have said so." I'll mention that Effect claims those messages are over 2 years old, which seems hard to believe. Keep in mind, Effect posted this Twitlonger in August 2019, meaning that these messages have to be before August 2017 to be over 2 years old. However, Effect states himself that him and Seneca only started dating at the end of 2017. With regards to Seneca denying being in the sex industry, Effect doubled down on his take, still stating that she did in fact have a past as being a prostitute, though his reasoning below is mainly speculation due to prior debt Seneca had. Speaking of this debt, Effect had paid it off for Seneca, and the debt was worth 70 million won, or a little over 50k USD. However, Effect claimed that the actual debt was only 60 million won, and Seneca lied to keep an extra 10 million won, which I will refer to later. It's also worth noting a rather crude comment Effect left on stream whilst reacting to Seneca's post, claiming his king-sized dick would leave her in pain.
저는 얘가 안 해줘서 얘가 너무 아파해서 님들 말하는 킹자지 알죠? 씨발 그래 내 자지 커 개새끼들아 그래서 얘가 너무 아파해.
Another situation Seneca levied against Effect was her meeting people online whom she considered friends and ended up being R-worded by one of them. When Effect found out, he blamed Seneca, allegedly saying things like, "Didn't you just offer up your body? How can I believe you?" He then allegedly pressured her to have sex with him in order for her to be clean. Swingchip's translation states that Seneca had collected evidence from the hospital and reported the incident to the police. Effect's response to this was a complete denial, stating, LOL, only fools would believe that. You might have noticed by now, but most of this case so far has been he said she said, whether that be the claims of Seneca in the sex industry, or how Effect has treated or responded to Seneca's trauma. However, more of the situation would come out as on August 4th, 2020, Gatter had posted a screenshot of Seneca's Facebook post suing Effect for defamation and winning. More specifically, the claims that were refuted were Seneca lying about money and not repaying Effect, that Seneca had committed prostitution, and that they had agreed to remain as friends with benefits. Seneca was compensated 5 million won, which is actually worth under 4k USD now thanks to inflation, and Seneca's lawyer stated that she will file for compensation for damages caused and money lost due to Effect's irresponsible slander. Since I haven't covered everything about the entire Effect situation, I recommend reading Swingchip's translation as well as a few of Gatter's tweets to help get the full picture. To this day, Effect is actually a lot more active than you might think. He's moved on from Overwatch into Apex Legends, streaming the game on a somewhat regular basis with respectable viewing figures. He also recently joined as a streamer for DUSG, or Donuts Unsold Stuff Gaming, on July the 8th, and he seems to regularly interact on Twitter. It's reasonable to think that Effect is in a much better mental place now than he was when he was playing professional Overwatch, and whether he's truly learned from his past actions that took place years ago from today can be left up to you. A name that might be a bit more recent to your memory, Flex support player Provide came into the 2022 Overwatch League season looking to redeem his past actions and edgy behaviour, but unfortunately, it seemed like an insurmountable task. Before joining the Overwatch League, Provide was known for being a mechanically talented Flex support player who had the potential to be one of the greats.
But I think talent-wise, Provide is very good. I remember when he was attempted to be signed in 2020 for the Valiant, people were talking about how his mechanics are just like some of the best on this like Flex support. And that is what I'm excited to see, like someone who has raw power coming out from the backline, because I think that was one of the biggest weaknesses of London Spitfires.
However, despite Provide seeming to be lined up for a stable career in the Overwatch League, being signed to the Valiant before the 2020 season, the league would make reservations heading into 2020. On January the 23rd, 2020, Provide would provide an apology, no pun intended, on his past actions regarding his racist behaviour and would receive a ban from competitive play for roughly a year. Whilst there was some confusion and inconsistency with regards to whether Provide was banned from competitive play or not throughout 2020, he was officially unbanned on the 31st of March 2021, mostly receiving support from the professional Overwatch community, particularly from members of the current London Spitfire. Speaking of such, the London Spitfire would pick up Provide as their new Flex support in November of the same year. Whilst this move did cause some controversy and some collateral damage onto this London Spitfire staff, most were willing to give Provide a second chance to prove himself in the league. However, unfortunately for Provide, he was never given the chance to. In April 2020, a month before the league had begun, Twitter user Emma had detailed some of her experiences with Provide back in January of 2019. She provided screenshots of Provide, who was 20 years old at the time, flirting with a 16-year-old girl, being Emma herself. Some emphasis was also placed on the power dynamic between the two, not just in terms of age, but also the maturity difference, as Emma was also in a special needs school. She later provided a further list of screenshots, with one showing that Provide knew the age difference from the very beginning. Provide acknowledged himself that what he was doing felt weird, saying Emma was too early, rip, and complimenting her, which is weird considering you're 4 years younger than me. The messages that people most found cringy were his innuendos about shoving something down her throat, and him talking about his genitals, even going as far as to show Emma. As a result, it was not a surprise that the London Spitfire swiftly dropped Provide, and even yours truly made a pretty decent Twitter meme.
Can you get me off? Not only did you do that, they got your ass on camera.
They got me on the fucking camera.
This is the clearest video I've ever seen. This is the most HD shit ever. This is 4K! How did they get you at 4K?
That ain't me.
It's important to note that whilst the actions Provide had done in the past were horrible to say the least, some refuted the notion that Provide wasn't really reformed. Most notably, Spilo, who is the assistant coach for the London Spitfire and so would have spent more time with Provide than most behind the scenes, condemned what Provide had done whilst also noting that people can change. Provide hasn't made a public response to the situation and in fact hasn't been active on Twitter at all. Even if Provide has changed entirely from the person he used to be 3 to 4 years ago, whether the severity of his actions are forgivable is up to you. One of the biggest Overwatch content creators right now, Redshell got into hot water back in 2019 and 2020. Since me and Shell have quite the history, I'll keep this very brief. On June the 23rd, 2019, a 17-year-old by the name of Reigns, who is part of a trolling OCE gang, came into Redshell's Twitch chat asking $1 to buy some pizza, and in exchange, she'd give that person her nudes. Redshell accepted, with images allegedly being exchanged, with Reigns claiming that Redshell knew her age, with Redshell denying this. Various public responses were exchanged between the two, though Redshell's responses were deleted in order to stop adding fuel to the fire. Another situation would arise a year later, in July of 2020, where conversations between Redshell, who was 21 at the time, and with a 16-year-old anonymous girl would be leaked. Some of the key messages were Redshell calling her a cute girl despite knowing her age, though nothing nude was exchanged. Likewise to other figures featured throughout this video, like Provide for example, people are capable of making change, wanting to move past their, well, past, and whether the significance of these actions overcome any possible change is up to you. For now, in the present, Redshell is enjoying the fruits of his labour, being one of the hottest Overwatch content creators, partially thanks to his editors. Speaking of hot names, Elmo was certainly that at his peak, but has quite possibly had one of the hardest and quickest downfalls I think I've ever seen. Elmo was an up-and-coming Overwatch streamer back in late June of 2020, getting into streamer lobbies, and was infamous for his pretty bang-on Elmo impression.
Happy birthday, Vantage! I love you!
Happy birthday, Vantage. Oh my god, Elmo, you just got your shit blasted!
Elmo got outplayed here! Elmo, sorry!
Why does this make me laugh so much?
Just a quick observation would show how much traction he'd gain in such a short period of time, managing to feature in videos with hundreds of thousands, if not close to 1 million views. Not only that, but there are multiple articles written by respected gaming outlets, such as Exerto, who wrote on Elmo's seemingly overnight success. However, Elmo's reputation would start to take a hit, as on July the 11th, 2020, Elmo ridiculed Kephrii cheating on his wife on stream.
The letter of the day is F because you should be faithful to your wife!
Oh no, dude.
La 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 la! La 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 la! Kephrii's a cheater!
Soon after, Elmo received a week suspension on Twitch and made a now deleted apology to Kephrii, which he swiftly rejected. Roughly a week later, on July the 19th, and some allegations about Elmo purchasing accounts would arise, and on July the 22nd, a fake copyright cease and desist would be posted on Reddit. However, on the 12th of August, Elmo had changed his name to Poseidon OW, and this time it was due to real copyright reasoning. Not only had the name change reduced Elmo's short-lived novelty, but this alone would have already been a hard drop-off for Elmo. But as we know, the story doesn't end there. On the 15th of October 2020, a TwitLonger released by user KittenPuff, which is still up to this day, saw Elmo behave inappropriately to both people of age and those who are underage. He was also guilty of generally manipulating his community and not giving enough credit to people who did work for him. With regards to the first and most damning point, Elmo, who was 23 years old at the time, started flirting with a 16-year-old, who I will call Stella from now on. KittenPuff claims that Poseidon was sending direct messages to Stella that were inappropriate, including explicitly asking for nude images, sending images of a similar nature, and having sexual conversations. The minor was told that, "I thought you were like in your 20s and I got feelings for you, and then when I realised you were underage, those feelings just didn't go away." In addition, he would pressure Stella, and once she sent the messages, he would proceed to tell her things like, "You have to stop me when I get super horny and want you." These conversations happened over the social media app Snapchat multiple times. Because these messages occurred over Snapchat, which deletes recent messages, they obviously could not be provided. However, what could be provided was Stella talking to a crisis counsellor in Illinois regarding the incident. Here, Stella reveals the age gap of Elmo being 23 and herself being 16, and the emotional manipulation that she felt she was undergoing because of it, even going as far to reveal that apparently Elmo wanted to make plans to properly date when she was of age. The question of whether Elmo knew Stella was 16 seems to be easy to answer. It's quite likely that Elmo was aware of the age gap, considering he commented in Stella's Twitch chat asking her age. Skeptics might say that he could have said this in any Twitch chat, but it's likely the person he was talking to was in fact 16, because you can get a driving license as low as 16 in the US, which would adequately explain his shock in the Twitch chat. Referring to the second point of Elmo having non-consensual interactions with adults, one person who experienced this is Aaron, which is also another name used for privacy reasons. It was communicated to Elmo that the interactions he had were inappropriate, and he agreed to stop in a dismissive manner. Whenever Elmo was not flirting, the conversations were often cold and callous. After this entire situation, Elmo's reputation was basically evaporated. he never made a formal response and tried to keep streaming, acting as if nothing happened. 11 days after the allegations went public, a post would blow up on the Overwatch TMZ subreddit discussing how Elmo, or Poseidon, was actively ignoring and censoring any mention of the scandal. Surprisingly, he'd still somehow have his sponsorship with GamerSupps intact, with his code Olympus still working to this day for some reason. Hopefully nobody's used the coupon code FinderHoney and accidentally given this guy money. Roughly a month later, after the allegations, Elmo eventually had his Twitch banned and started streaming on a new account called Popo Uwu, and this account didn't get banned, presumably because Elmo, or Poseidon, or Popo had one of the hardest, quickest, and steepest fall-offs to ever be witnessed in the Overwatch community. However, Elmo once again rebranded to Barkaj in January of 2021, which went about as well as you might expect, and that's really all to his story. Elmo is living proof that the brightest stars burn the quickest, as a once humorous gimmick which in itself burns out very quickly, burns out even quicker due to greed and lust, and as a result, Elmo has left quite the legacy to say the least. Arguably the most controversial figure in not just the Overwatch scene, but in the esports scene as a whole, Sinatraa 1 would soon find himself in the crosshair of every gaming enthusiast. The story of the Overwatch League's soon-to-be MVP began in September 2017 when the then 17-year-old signed a $150,000 deal to join the Overwatch League on his 18th birthday coming into 2018. Despite this, the inaugural season for the league was rough for Sinatraa and the Shock, finishing 9th out of 12 teams in playoffs, with some fans doubting whether Sinatraa could live up to the hype. However, as we quickly enter 2019 with the dreaded GOATS meta that some look back on fondly, fans of the Overwatch community were quick to realise how great the team of the Shock had become, eventually winning the Stage 2 finals against the Vancouver Titans.
And the Shock have done it! They are your Stage 2 champions!
And of course, winning the 2019 Grand Finals.
He is walled off! The door is shut in his face!
Soon after, Sinatraa would become the MVP of the Overwatch League season, win an Overwatch World Cup title, and be the Overwatch World Cup MVP, leading him to be featured on the Jimmy Fallon Show alongside Super. However, as soon as 2020 rolled around, Sinatraa made the choice to retire from Overwatch to pursue Valorant, with the Zarya MVP skin being dedicated to him. His Valorant career throughout 2020 was quite successful, picking up numerous number 1 places with his team, the Sentinels. Despite this though, it wouldn't be long until Sinatraa would find himself in some controversy. Now, before I get into the whole Sinatraa situation, commentary YouTuber Technicals did a very in-depth look at the entire controversy start to finish, so I will use some of his clips. A link to his full video will be down in the description. On the 9th of March 2021, Sinatraa's ex-girlfriend, Cleo Hernandez, released a 9-page document detailing her relationship with Sinatraa. The document contains allegations of manipulation, Cleo being fearful of Sinatraa, as well as non-consensual insemination, which is what the public mostly focused on, with an audio clip attached. 2 days after, Sinatraa had dropped a response stating how he'd be fully cooperating with the investigations and providing the full audio and video clips Cleo referenced in her post. This was the point in which Alex Francois, global head of competitive operations at Valorant, announced a suspension and investigation into Sinatraa, which would be dropped 6 months later with no definitive conclusion. 2 months later, in May of 2021, because Sinatraa had violated Valorant's policy for failing to cooperate, Sinatraa had been dished a 6-month ban from March to September and would also have to complete professional conduct training before returning to play. As a result, both Sinatraa and Cleo released additional twit-longers, with Sinatraa stating that he was no longer able to provide the full video and audio clips because Cleo said to delete them, which Cleo vehemently denied.
I do not have the video/audio that she used in her statement. Now keep that in mind as we read Ms. Hernandez's statement.
I never once told him to delete the video. In it, you can see his fingers dig into me when I try and move away from him.
Somebody here is a fucking liar. From here on out, I'd like to ask the audience to reserve any judgments of either party until we've reached the end. If Sinatraa was explicitly asked to delete the video after they broke up, then why would he so confidently offer to produce it during the investigation? That doesn't make any sense. And at that point, why not just ask Ms. Hernandez to provide the video? Like, she literally offered. I get that people hold this against Sinatraa, and rightfully so for being dishonest and not actually having it. But it's a fucking non-issue because she has it. She's had it the whole time.
This is the haziest and most confusing part of the situation because the full video clip would either incriminate or exonerate Sinatraa fully. Cleo also released a second document in April of 2021, which was initially deleted as Cleo admits the document was posted out of anger towards Sinatra's current girlfriend, Emmy. Some, like Technicals, did critique Cleo for this, as she seemed to be on good terms with Emmy after releasing her first document, only to then critique Emmy heavily in her second document. Moving a bit further into the future, on the 10th of September 2021, the investigation from Riot Games had ended and was inconclusive. Cleo also announced that the legal case would not be pursued any further due to mental health issues, though some had reservations for this.
I think putting your phone down and talking with police takes more effort than tweeting, so you're just scapegoating your mental health so no one can criticize you for being lazy. And I'm not saying that because I take your claims lightly. Quite the opposite. If this event has genuinely scarred you and impacted your quality of life, then continuing to post about it on social media will only dilute any real semblance of an investigation or consequence. Unless, of course, the consequence you're seeking is from social media itself. In which case, I'd say your problem probably isn't that serious if it can be solved with likes and ratio.
Fast forward to April of 2022, and Sinatraa had not undergone his professional conduct training that he was supposed to undergo back in May of 2021, with some tweets from Cleo pushing for this to occur. Riot followed up on this, and Sinatraa would eventually undergo the training. To conclude, as if I haven't done this enough already, I'll play a clip from Technicals, which I think accurately covers the status of the situation.
Ms. Hernandez has, according to her, video proof of her being assaulted. Something most victims could only hope for in their wildest dreams. And yet somehow, this case is inconclusive. Does that not piss anyone else off? Not even Ms. Hernandez, with her made-up definition, is confident enough to classify this as. And yet Sinatraa has already been branded with the label. Both of them were unprepared for a serious relationship, and their personal issues led to a toxic environment for each other.
Essentially, this situation boils down to bad, poor, and ineffective communication in a relationship from two young adults, which could have resolved the entire fiasco. It's unfortunate that the case is left as inconclusive as it is, considering how serious some of the accusations are. For now, in the current day, Sinatraa is left pretty unaffected, streaming Valorant regularly, and managing to easily pull 6-digit viewing figures. Only time will tell whether the situation will receive any more updates. One of the longest lasting faces in the Overwatch community from its very dawn, Kephrii seems to be the name that you either love or hate, but one thing's for certain, and that's that his journey to success has definitely been a rocky one. Kephrii's Overwatch journey began in June 2016, where he'd start uploading short highlights, of which a handful would pull in 6-digit view counts. He was also playing for Team Liquid at the time, who were getting some respectable results, and in early 2017, a video of Kephrii beating a hacker who named himself after Kephrii would rocket him into stardom, being his most viewed video to date. Fast forward to October of the same year, and KephriiCon would be announced. This drew in some positive public press, with the Reddit comments stating how, besides the memes, it's really nice to see him build his community by interacting with his fanbase. Really smart move, really appreciated. Pretty sure those guys had a great time. However, things wouldn't be all on the uprise for Kephrii in 2017. Just a month prior, in September 2017, DMs between Kephrii and Baby Bay would be revealed, showing how Kephrii thought Shawful and Taimu might have been cheaters, and how Kephrii has been in the FPS world for 15 years. I've been to LANs, I've been at the top. I've played on over 200 milligrams of Adderall. Kephrii later clarified the whole debacle in an interview with Jane over a year past the fiasco. Kefrii's reputation would soon start to take a serious dent, with leaked screenshots of Kephrii sexting and flirting whilst married being revealed in November 2017. Whilst I can't read all of the messages, as this video would probably go age restricted, some of them mentioned how Kephrii would thrust in all of his 8 inches, as well as some more egregiously crude DMs. It went so far that Taimu, a former DPS player for the Dallas Fuel, read aloud some of his messages in a Discord call.
I would love to make you finish. The thought of your body trembling and whimpering as you moan and come is absolutely sexy! Woo! Let's go, Kephrii! Let's go! Woo!
Are you done?
The mockery continued onto Reddit and Twitter, with many such as Alicus making puns about Kephrii's career going from 200 to 8, referencing the 200mg Adderall meme and Kephrii's self-proclaimed 8-incher in the leaked DMs. However, whilst the public were ridiculing Kephrii, he was certainly down mentally. He posted a now deleted twitlonger titled My Stupidity, which came across as sincere in the eyes of most. He held accountability for the messages he sent, as well as clarifying that he and Devin, Kephrii's wife at the time, had already talked through the messages months prior to them being leaked. Kephrii also spoke about his deteriorating mental health in his interview with Jane, with Devin constantly being supportive and suggesting Kephrii to be stoic in his streaming.
There was no escaping any of it. there was no escape. Genuinely, I could walk out of my house and everyone knew, because it's not that they knew all the bad shit. It was that all of these people in my local town knew all the good shit. They were so proud of me, and they loved that somebody from my like little town made it big in any capacity.
For the rest of the segment, I don't wish repeating much more of what's already in my own separate Kephrii video. In short, Kephrii experimented with other FPS games, but returned to Overwatch. He came into hot water in his short-lived professional career and made a staggering amount of accusations, all of which with varying levels of validity. But the story I want to briefly touch upon is the very recent CSGO scandal Kephrii has gotten himself into. Essentially, Kephrii has been accused of cheating in a CSGO tournament with a $100,000 prize pool by teaming with Gale Adelaide. This tournament is unique in that getting a knife kill rewards you with 5 points, instead of just 1 for getting a normal kill. You yourself can judge the clip in question.
Is he back behind boxer or did he run left?
I think he ran that.
I think he ran left. Oh my
Just
god.
knifed him.
I'm never playing B again, dude. Somebody please pick up B.
Bro, are you feeding him knife kills?
No, dude, I'm begging somebody to pick up B. I am
That's the third
begging.
knife kill then.
I am begging you to pick up B.
Yeah,
Please.
oh yeah, I'm confused. How are you getting knifed?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking someone to take B. I don't want B. I'm tired of him.
Okay, I will sit B.
Thank you. Please. Please.
Come on, baby.
Because he keeps fucking killing me.
Bro, you just deemed him 15.
I'm not. I've been begging to go A.
I appreciate that you're you know, you have opinions on the stuff at the moment and whatnot, but your team is complaining at the moment. They're saying that you're potentially feeding knives.
As a result, it's not a surprise that some in the Overwatch community mocked Kephrii, doing some wordplay on Kephrii cheating in CSGO, as well as on his wife.
The devil under your feet, you're on your way to see me. Stress me when I can't sleep.
Kephrii doubled down on Twitter, concluding that he just sucks at CSGO because he hasn't played the game in years, though most people did not buy this response. Despite this, the event hosters eventually made a public statement that they investigated the situation and concluded that there was no foul play, but still removed Kephrii because of the quote-unquote hostile environment caused by the accusations. This may offer an explanation as to why Kephrii was removed, but not Gale, as some people pointed out, considering that Gale was not at the forefront of the accusations. To add more fuel to the fire, a Reddit post on Overwatch TMZ with over 600 upvotes claimed Kephrii went full damage control in stream, with a screenshot of his moderators banning someone for teasing Kephrii's offensiveness. Kephrii also spent time on stream analysing gameplay of other streamers in the tournament, calling out Nick Bunyan and Tiffay for teaming, similar to how people accused Kephrii and Gale of teaming. Okay, so this is very last minute and it's coming in during my editing, but Kephrii now has a CSGO command in his Twitch chat, which gives a quick breakdown of the situation, saying Faceit reviewed the evidence, both POVs and demo, and concluded that there was no intentional foul play. As a result of how the situation was handled, I am seeking legal guidance, and I'm going to be refraining from commenting on the situation any further. Back to the video. A layer of irony seems to be emanating around the entire situation. The man known for calling out supposed cheating, allegedly cheating himself. It seems that whilst Kephrii's hardcore supporters will be with him no matter what, anyone outside Kephrii's circle will still view him under the same stained lens. Before I end off this video, I thought I'd cover some people who are either lesser known and or people who I just couldn't get enough detail on to establish an entire section to. Starting off with a former Dallas Fuel player, Harry Hook. Harry Hook had seemingly generalised his personal experience of women to concluding that some women are whores, which, as you might expect, received quite a bit of flack from the Overwatch community, with some calling him a misogynist. He also received quite a bit of backlash from his take openly supporting the fans' perspective once the whole Cleo Sinatraa situation aired in March of 2021, which didn't go well either. Now this is the part where I transitioned to the fan, but knowing more about how the Sinatraa situation panned out, one could argue that his take on the situation was reasonable, but very poorly phrased.
I get what he's saying here, but like, he did not say it in the right way at all.
Next we have Undead, another former Overwatch League player that you probably don't know about, and that's because Undead was part of the 2018 Shanghai's roster, infamous for the 0-40 loss streak. Undead came into controversy for cheating on his girlfriend multiple times, with his first love apparently having 2 abortions and keeping the baby the 3rd time as she had no choice. A long translation of events between who was in love with who take up the bulk of the Reddit post, and it is very long, so for the sake of brevity, I'll keep it there. An infamous figure formerly on Overwatch Twitter, Shiro has had her fair share of flack, being labelled every derogatory term under the sun. For those who don't know, Shiro is a Twitch partner in the late 20s who, on January the 3rd, 2021, had a series of allegations levied against her. Shiro was first exposed for her racism, with screenshots of her stating the hard R, and for homophobia, with screenshots of Shiro saying the F slur. Secondly, publicly denouncing his racist and transphobic statements on Twitter, but being egregiously sexual over horns on Discord. Thirdly, similar to Undead, Shiro had cheated on her boyfriend, with the evidence stating how Shiro herself believes that she is no longer worthy of a relationship with her boyfriend Alex at the time. Lastly, and most pressingly, some accused 26-year-old Shiro of being a paedophile by allegedly engaging in sexual activities with a boy as young as 16. The first screenshot provided, as evidence states, "Sorry, I keep falling asleep, but no, I don't do this with other people. I did a long time ago with Blood a few times, but stopped because it felt wrong." The additional context from the Twitlonger states that this person had just turned 18 months earlier, and they had been friends long before this point. That being said, this person had just turned 17 when this happened. It is unclear exactly what sexual activities Shiro was doing, but it is implied that whatever she did with someone under the age of 18. The second piece of evidence was a screenshot of Shiro supposedly making a romantic video for the 16-year-old with a love song included. Shiro swiftly made an apology for this, and seemingly didn't refute or clarify anything further in her apology. Publicly speaking, the Overwatch community mostly rejected her apology, with most of the replies satirizing Shiro's actions. A few months later, Twitter user Jix would tweet to HyperX, as well as DMing them about the shady history of Shiro in order for HyperX to drop Shiro as a sponsor. And in fact, they did, with a screenshot from Shiro's private account showing HyperX cutting ties with her. Jix also notified me recently about a Secret Lab sponsor, stating that she still had it in her About section on Twitch, however it is no longer there after I questioned Secret Labs why she was still a sponsor. For now, Shiro has mostly moved on past Overwatch, predominantly streaming Valorant. Reimei is a name I constantly got told to cover when first announcing this video, and arguably for good reason. On the 2nd of August 2022, so very recent, a Twitlonger covering Reimei's history would be posted. Essentially, Reimei would be accused of follow botting, cheating in terms of using hacks, allegedly sending creepy messages to those under 18 whilst being in her mid-20s, using racist slurs like the hard R in both Overwatch text chat and in Discord. Reimei is also in a relationship with EVA, another Twitch streamer, who has been seemingly defending Reimei, denying all accusations towards her. That was a very brief summary of the controversy surrounding Reimei, so I recommend watching the video linked down below or reading the Twitlonger for yourself. So that's the video. Sorry if I didn't cover everything in pristine detail, considering the script is close to 5 digits in word count, and hopefully the virality of my tweet just announcing the video on Twitter will carry over to this video's performance on YouTube. If you enjoyed this video, do be sure to comment, subscribe and like the video, and until next time.